Have you seen yourself run?
No.
No. And what about when you run? Have you ever tracked your cadence before?
No.
Have you ever thought about it?
I haven't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Maybe that I'm slow.
yeah. So when we talk about run cadence, which for me I actually think it's a better reference than pace, really, for most runners. I'd rather see them concentrate on their cadence and have the pace be a result of that. But yeah, we're going to do that later in the clinic, so that'll be of use to you, I think. Okay. So if we have a look at a couple of points here, as you're running towards, we just see the arm carriage is quite low. Okay, so exactly like what Cam was speaking about.
So tuck up a little bit more.
Yep. You're the equivalent of, you've got your t-shirts hung on the outside rung of the heels hoist. Okay, so the time that it takes for your arms to come from down here to up here, that's a lot of time, and your legs won't go any quicker. Okay, so one thing that you're going to notice, and it's going to be a pretty instant change in your pace, is to lift the turnover up. Okay, so initially it might come at a higher cost just because you're taking more steps, but very quickly that will become just as easy as running was for you, and all of a sudden you're taking an extra 5 or 10 steps per minute, which is going to translate to, for no extra energy into the ground, it's going to translate to probably an extra 15 or 20 metres per minute. And then over the course of a distance run, it's quite significant. Okay, so we'll just keep rolling through here. Alright, so if we forget the arms and we just watch the torso, we can see there is a little bit of a subtle shift side to side. Okay, so that's good. And then if we have a look at where that energy is going, see this position here, if we can see the hips just sink down a little bit, okay, and there's a subtle S in the body, okay, so that's probably something that we want to try and avoid, because what's happening here is energy's getting spilt out the hip there as we land, and you're having to lift yourself back up off that low position, and that's what's going to become harder and harder as the run gets longer. And then again in the triathlon, we're going to say, well, no, we're not letting you run with fresh legs. We're going to put some fatigue into your legs and see if you can still do that.
And that's what it feels like for me, like I'm sinking.
Yep. So the big part for you is going to be what's happening in the midsection here. Okay, and that's going to be one of the features of what we're going to discuss in the drills. Okay, so just keep rolling through. We'll get it as it comes back, but we'll just give you a chance to have another look running away. We can often see that sort of weight transfer there. So I think you probably, that side, we don't collapse as much as we do on the other side. Okay, so your lowest point there, I think we've got a bit of a... Okay, so I think we collapse probably a little bit more on the right side than you do on the left side. See how that your shoulder is over the top of your left foot, but not so much on the other side. So that may be something to note, but probably, to me, that would sound like you're loading up the left side more than the right. So it'd be interesting to see as you're getting back into it and the volume increases, if you can balance that out. Okay, so this angle here gives us a good chance to look at where the landing is. Alright, so I'll have a look at this. Landing on the ground there. Draw your line. That's pretty good. Okay. Yep. So the question that we'd ask is, if you're going to run faster, is that landing going to go further out in front? And you see how
my stride looks short, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty short.
Yep. It's a short stride, but the way that we'd most successfully build you as a runner is to keep that stride just like that. You don't need any more length out the front.
Okay.
What you want is a little bit more length out the back if we can get it. Okay. So that just means you relax through this phase of of the step, and then from this point here where we're starting to drive the power, we don't want to drive straight down so it goes straight back up.
Mm-hmm.
We want to just be able to push out the back, and we see on the runners that we saw before, they were getting that extension right out the back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously the faster you go, probably the more extension you're going to have out the back, but it's just something to note. If you've got tightness through the front of the hips here, that's also going to restrict you. But I think so long as you know this mould and your sort of stride pattern it's absolutely fine.
Okay.
We just want to lift the cadence up.
Okay.
And so if we can get more of these steps for the same cost per minute, we're going to go faster. Okay. So you can just see as you're running away, the arms are sweeping down from that low point. So I think that's the big take home
I never
for
realised
you.
that. That's actually quite big. So that the push off phase. So I should really actually be really trying to push through and kind of sinking down.
Yeah. So and that's where when you start to view the ground as your force plate, you're pushing into the ground. The energy's going out the back, and once you get that timing right, you feel like you're in a better position to even ask more from the ground.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like Mitch was, when we're doing the ones where we're pushing through our heel and we're using the glutes, that's what you've got to concentrate on to push forward, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're not using your glutes at all, your hips dropping. You got to really concentrate on just thinking about squeezing through those glutes to push out the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Excellent.